So, and then I have my presentation here on my Chromebook, but because it's so small, they have paper copies of what I'm presenting as well. Okay, good morning. You know me, but you don't. My name is Jasmine. I go to the high school here in Burlington, and I've been working under Chase for about a year and a half between Cole House and the Buffalo 61 in Fort Madison. You might not know what I'm about to talk about, or you're just hoping it doesn't take up too much of your time. But by the end of this, I hope that you're prompted to invest in me and the future generations. As being a senior, I'm slowly approaching graduation, and we've been doing things like filling out scholarships, applications, figuring out loans, and our best bet at paying for the future, or paying for our future. And this has found me in a predicament where I've realized that it's more difficult than people make it out to be. They make it sound like there's a lot of opportunities when that's really not the case at all, and it's led me to a risky but very pursuable idea, and that is for Chase to create a Buffalo franchise and develop a scholarship fund for his employees. So this would be beneficial to not only himself but the community as well, and it'll create good morale, and it's something that's not seen often. So we'll start off the basics of why this is something he should do. It's an act you don't see often in small businesses, so he would be the first to do it in our area. You mainly see it in like franchises or businesses that have the money to just throw out there, and so it would get a lot of recognition and image boost as well, because it's a small town, so people would be like, oh, this is something that you don't see, and people would share it on their socials, and it would also encourage people to spend more money in your company as well, because they want to spend money in local businesses that create good morale and good values as well, and that's where they want to invest your money. And there's possibilities of like newspaper recognition and stuff like that, because like newspapers like the Hawkeye would love to just eat up like good things that people are doing for the community or good role models in the community. Moving on, I'll talk about the new generation. In the time that I've worked under Chase, I have found the employee dynamic change. I was one of the first like younger people that he took a chance on, as like far as like being younger and worrying about the possibilities or the possibilities with that. And we have proven to be more dependable, positive, hardworking, and better at handling situations under pressure. This is a picture of us one night, and there's been plenty of times where we are the youngest and we are just completely on our own. And Siobhan said, in quotation, she said, a Friday night where everyone in the front of the house was under 18, excluding Calista because she's a young adult, but we still count her, was one of the smoothest nights I've seen since I've been here. This says a lot, because you would think that the people who have been there for a while, or the older people, would be the ones that you could depend on or be hardworking. And then, so if this is how it is, and these are the people you want to continue bringing into your business, and creating an incentive would encourage more workers like this to come in. It would give them a reason to stay longer, or a reason to actually be hardworking when they're there, because there's a benefit at the end of it. Why it is important for local business to invest in our education, because if you don't do it, then who will? The kid that you invest in, or a scholarship that you give to, that might eventually be your doctor, or could be teaching your kids when they get to high school, and so you could play a part in that. If you look at how scholarships are laid out, when they talk about having so many opportunities or so many things out there, a lot of them are national scholarships, so that means you're going up against every single other senior in America, which the odds are not in your favor when that's the case. And even when you move down to just a state scholarship, while that does decrease the amount of people you're going up against, that still could possibly be 36 other thousand kids, according to the Iowa Department of Education, that you are competing against, so the odds are still not really there. And then when you look at local scholarships in our area, which are great, it's your best bet, you're up against less people, and the people who are reviewing your application are people in your community, so they look at your impact more keenly. And the local scholarships in our area, even then, while anything little does help, they're anywhere from $200 to $2,500. And the university in our area has an average cost of $20,000 per year. So while anything does help, those small scholarships don't make a huge impact on what you have to pay. In an article written by Savings for College, only 1 in 8 students qualify for A singular, just one scholarship per year, and 18.8% win enough money just to cover half of their costs. So all of this just comes to show that, like, while it may seem like a lot of kids are able to take what's given to them and get to college and pay for it, that it's really difficult, and it's not. In reality, when people receive a lot of money to go to college, the amount of money that they receive, they have to pull out of their pocket as well or save for as well, and that just creates a lot of loan and debt. Ending on that note, of course, after I said why it's important for a local business to create a scholarship, I'm going to talk about why I personally am deserving of the scholarship if one was developed. First, I'll talk about my academic achievement. So if you go to page 5 after they...
I need you guys to quiet down back here, please. Go ahead.
If you go to page 5 after the PowerPoint slides, you'll see a copy of my transcript, and that has my grades for the past 4 years and where I stand. So if you just,
That's under academic achievement.
Yeah, or if you flip through all the pages after the PowerPoint, you'll see my transcript.
Okay.
So you'll see that I have a 3.9 cumulative GPA out of a 4.0 and a 16.4 unweighted. It goes from a 4 to a 16 when you take in all honors, AP, and college classes that I've taken. I'm ranked 15 in my class out of 273 students, and I have accumulated 51 credits up until this point, and by the time I would have graduated, I would have graduated with 5 SEC classes that'll transfer to the college that I'm going to, so that's 15 college credits. So in high school alone, I've already knocked out a semester of college. And then moving on, what I've done for community, my high school involvement and volunteering. I was a part of rebuilding the Minority Scholars Program at our school. So it's a program that is targeted at closing the opportunity gap for the minorities at our school. 75% of our school is predominantly white, and then the other 25% is African American, multi-biracial, Asian, Hawaiian, and things like that. And so when you look at the people who are in our clubs and in our programs, you don't see a lot of people that looked at you. So we rebuilt this program to get people out there, to show them the opportunities that are out there for them and things that can be specifically beneficial to them alone and not as a whole. I've racked up over 600 volunteer hours in the past 4 years. Between nursing homes, I've read to elementary kids, food pantries, the Salvation Army, Special Needs Foundation, and homeless shelters, concession stands. I've done a lot all the time. And Chase would know I request off work all the time. And I promise you it's because I'm volunteering everywhere.
That's a lot of hours.
That's just a couple of things that I've done. And then about how a scholarship would benefit me, I plan to attend the University of Northern Iowa, and I'm going to major in mathematics teaching, and then I plan to come back to Burlington and teach in that department. I chose this field because throughout school, some of the most influential people in my life were teachers. So when I felt like I had nobody when I was younger and I was going through things, I would go to school, and those were the people I looked up to and that supported me and had my back all the time. And I feel like that's why I've been able to do so well now, because of those people who are in my life, and I want to be that for somebody else. And I would specifically benefit from a scholarship because the field I'm going into does not put me in a place to be able to easily pay off a loan. So because I'm self-selecting to go to a university and then I will be a teacher after, everybody knows teachers don't tend to make the most money, and so I'm not putting myself in a position to be able to take out a loan and then pay it off easily when I graduate. So that's why it's really important to me to be filling out scholarships and grants like that. Under my time working under Chase, I've proven, and you can ask multiple managers that I've had in the past year and a half, that I'm mature, I have a good work ethic, and I handle situations well. I tend to stay more calm and well-rounded than the people I'm around when you get in stressful situations, which is a really good characteristic to have, especially in like a busy setting. And it's really nice to see because a lot of people fold under pressure, and so it's great that I was able to accumulate those qualities working the last year and a half that some people do not have. I've proved my loyalty because in the past year and a half, I've been through probably like 7 managers, a COVID layoff, and moving restaurants, driving back and forth, and the tears that I've cried from losing some of like the most precious people to me that I've had been fellow coworkers. I've still stayed, and I plan to stay because I just love the environment that I work in, and I just feel completely invested in the company itself. And then I think the most important quality that I brought into my workspace is my positivity. I always try to, no matter what, stay positive, even when everything else around me is negative. I feel like that's very important because bringing negativity into something that's already a bad situation just makes it 10 times worse. And a lot of people, when bad things happen, it pushes off on somebody else, and that's just never a good thing. And so I felt like that's something very important that I brought to the places I've worked in. And then how you would benefit from investing in me and investing in employees that will be going to college is, like I said, recognition and image morale. A lot of people don't do it, so you'll be seen as somebody who has good values, your business has good values, and things like that. You'll have the satisfaction of knowing you're doing good for somebody else. So you've taken what you've developed in this community and you're putting it back into the community itself. And as I said, if you invest in me, I will be coming back to the community, so there'll just be a big circle of just great. And then I will promise to come back and work during holiday breaks, summer breaks, with expanding your restaurants. If you ever expand into the area that I'm in, I would be more than happy to continue working in that area. As far as caterings happen a lot up in the area that I work in as well. And I have no reason to not come back during summer breaks and continue doing so during holiday breaks and things like that, vacations. So there's that. And then as far as the scholarship itself, if this is something that you decide to do, I will not say, oh, this is how much I need, this is how much I think you should give me. I'm just going to give you statistics on how much my school costs and how much I've gained, and see where you would like to take it from there. So if you look at the cost of attendance for the school, between the tuition fees and room and board, just the direct cost, it comes to $18,000, and then that does not take into account additional expenses like transportation, books, food, dorm supplies, outside activities. And so I estimate, from like talking to other students in college and doing countless research, that's it cost me about $4,000. So that brings me to about 22, and between FAFSA and automatic scholarships given to me by the university itself, I've accumulated $11,000 already. And so that's still about another $11,000 that I have to find somewhere else, which I will continue working on. So there's that. And then I know this is a lot of information to take in, but I hope that you see that I'm very passionate about my schoolwork and about my future, and that why you should invest in that as well. It would bring good morale. It will show that you have a restaurant of good values, and it would also help me start my future. And yeah, thank you for listening to my presentation.
All right.
All right, good job.
Thank you. Good job.
Yes. I hope you get it.